What are my 9 favorite side hustle ideas for grad students and academics? Stick around and I'm going to tell you about each and every one of them today on this episode of Navigating Academia. What's up, Navigating Academia family? This is your buddy and personal academic mentor, Dr. Phoenix Singh. Such a pleasure to be here with you guys today. As always, I appreciate the love, so make sure to be able to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you're currently a grad student, if you're a postdoc, if you're a junior faculty member. I would love to be able to have you in our wonderful community here. So let's go ahead and get right into it. And I'm going to tell you today about my 9 favorite side hustle ideas for grad students and academics. I'll go through them relatively quickly because I don't want this to be too long of a video. Your time is very valuable to me. So number 1 is tutoring or teaching online classes in your field of expertise. And I'm not just talking about teaching online classes in higher ed, like settings, for example, teaching a class that's going to be offered at your university on Canvas or Blackboard or Moodle or any of these other learning management systems, these LMSs. I'm also talking about teaching classes or even recording courses that you can put then on something like Coursera or Udemy or edX, so on and so forth, and get a revenue share of the money that's getting created. To be honest with you, tutoring though, I find private tutoring can be very not just helpful and very deeply fulfilling, but also quite profitable, depending on the niche. The more niche you are, the better. The harder the content that you're focused on, the more you are going to end up getting paid. And a lot of this does have to do with essentially the nature of, when I say the area that you're in, hear me out here, I do mean geographic area. For example, right? So like I grew up in an area that was not very well to do, and then my family moved to an area that was very well to do. And I can tell you right now that I did tutoring in both locations. One, I was able to charge like a very small amount of money, right? So I'm talking about like maybe $10 an hour. And then all of a sudden I was in this other area where people had a lot of money and I was charging, $40, $50 an hour, and individuals were willing to pay it because they had that money and they were able to do it. Okay. And so again, in your field of expertise is really what I recommend though. If you're not passionate about something like statistics, then you're tutoring and stats. I just can't really recommend that, guys, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, freelance writing or content creation. A lot of people think they're gonna hop onto a platform like YouTube, for example, or TikTok, make content, and then all of a sudden it's just gonna explode. And in some cases, maybe 1% of the time, that is true, and that's amazing. And yeah, that could be you. Give it a shot. Why not, right? That said, usually content creation and all is a slow burn in terms of organic growth. Channel at the time that I'm filming this has been around for about 4.5 years. We've got a little over 20,000 subscribers. It's a big blessing. It's my hobby. It's what I love to do, is to be able to share this content with y'all. This is the reason why subscribing and sharing the content really helps me out a ton. But it's one of those situations where a lot of this stuff is flooded. Freelance writing is flooded. Content creation is flooded. But freelance writing, if you get onto something like Freelancer or Upwork, for example, and you hyper niche yourself, you will get fewer jobs, but the jobs will pay more. You can charge more money per hour. I guarantee it, all right? Number 3, if you are somebody, I refer to them as data hounds. If you are really good at data analysis, data analytic consulting services is a great industry for you to be able to be in. Loads of times, individuals or companies, they have data. They want a third-party contractor, in the US we'd call them a 1099 contractor, to be able to come in and to be able to assist with those consultation services and to be able to run data analytics and to be able to have actionable insights. That's the name of the game, is actionable insights. Sure, sometimes you're gonna have a master's thesis or a senior honors thesis person or a doctoral dissertation person who just really needs help with propensity scoring or structural equation modeling and Poisson regression, and that's your area of expertise. Fantastic. And in these cases, it's always a good idea to be able to hop on to, it depends, where your field happens to be. Maybe there's a national association where there's, like a job board where you can take a look if anybody's looking for, individuals who fit these sorts of classifications where you have those skill sets. In other cases, you just need to do a good job in terms of digital marketing. Maybe get onto Google AdWords, advertise yourself a little bit, come up with a Wix or a Squarespace website, and have the ability for people to book sessions with you integrated with something like Stripe, for example. example, and make sure that people are able to pay you online, okay? If it gets to be a little bit bigger, you can use something like Braintree is my favorite transaction platform. But, you know, slow burn. This is the area where everybody earns fast money, drop shipping, crypto, all this kind of stuff. Please just slow burn it to the extent that you can, all right? Number 4, especially if you are multilingual, translation or interpretation services. I have found this to be particularly profitable when it comes to things like digital surveys, right? Informed consent forms, to be able to translate these pieces, different study materials that labs are putting together, including research labs at universities, or also, again, doctoral dissertations, master's theses, individuals working in communities, including in the United States, where usually English is not the native language for some of these places. Let me tell you right now, those individuals need help, and they can either pay a lot of money to a third-party service that may not be that accurate, or they can have the human touch of working with you. All right. So the more you get out there, especially when people know, like, and trust you, they're much more likely to be able to hire you and pay you pretty well. I'll tell you that right now. Number 5, though, is survey design. I'm telling you right now, we just talked about survey translation. Survey design, if you are an academic and you can go out and work, if that's an expertise of yours, is survey design, if you can go out and work with private companies or with corporations or LLCs, you will make quite a bit of money to be able to design things for them, especially if you've got a doctorate. People see a PhD, an EDD, a PsyD, a DSL after your name. They project onto you and assume that you know a ton about all of these different topics, right? So it's very important that you really take the time to be able to become an expert in that particular area, especially if this is something where you can also, in your academic work, be able to publish digital surveys and these things. I say digital surveys because they're the most common types of surveys these days. Yes, you still got mail surveys like physical ones, or in-person surveys. You're stopping people on the street for convenience samples. But usually digital surveys these days are the way to go. So if you master something like SurveyMonkey, I use Qualtrics. There's hundreds of these surveying platforms. But pick your favorite, master it, and then make sure that local companies, if you go out and approach them and let them know that you know how to be able to do this, my goodness, you can get some really good results. Okay. Number 6 is virtual event planning and management, particularly if you can just master a platform like Eventbrite and then find individuals who, claim to be trainers on LinkedIn, approach them and say, hey, listen, I can develop using something like Canva, a variety of different social media posts for you. I can, configure Google AdSense for you to be able to, put some stuff on Google in terms of Google Ads. I can also assist you when it comes to, setting up new Eventbrites and assisting with, just letting people know, disseminating word about the events you're putting up, putting together. And then also, if people are putting on in-person, let's say, events, to be able to go to the events, man the front desk, right? Or online to be able to essentially handle all Q&A, to be able to handle tech support for individuals who give webinars as trainings or conferences with different breakout rooms. I'm telling you right now, you can make some solid money doing that as a side hustle, okay? Number 7, social media management and marketing. I already kind of went into that one, right? So I kind of won't be redundant. Learn how to use something like Canva. Learn these days as many AI platforms as you can in terms of content generation and prompt engineering. You can make some solid money relatively quickly, okay? Number 8, graphic design, web development services. If you develop your own website on something like Wix or Squarespace and you know how to do it, if you go to other professionals in the field, including in research, and just let them know, hey, listen, Professor Johnson, I know how to be able to build a professional website for you that showcases your work, that's independent of the university, that can highlight, anything you want. It can highlight your articles. You can have blog posts. You can, embed YouTube videos on there, whatever you want to do. Would you be interested in that? And sometimes people are. And of course, they're going to pay for the Wix or the Squarespace subscription, and you will be given admin access. You can configure everything for them. Pretty cool. Last but not least, number 9, this one I would say, right, is something where you can make some money, but the problem is the field's a little bit flooded right now, which is being a virtual assistant, right? Being a virtual assistant or project management services, these are the types of things that I would recommend going through some third-party provider. But it is certainly the case that financially speaking, you're gonna benefit from the first aid, right? And then obviously you can do something, I guess, like rideshare, Uber, or these things. But these are 9 that if you're an academic, really you're pretty well suited to. So that's what I've got for you guys today. If you enjoy content like this, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate y'all. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more in this series on navigating academia, please click on one of these links over here to be able to view more original content. I hope to see you there.